Good morning. I wanted to talk to you guys about everything that's been going on, not only energy-wise, but collectively-wise, and just do a really good update for you. And I've got like a list of notes because I have so much to talk about today. So we have this huge energy wave that has just blanketed the earth. And it's technically called a geomagnetic storm. And the way that it affects us is different for everybody. Some people do really well with these and other people don't. So we just kind of have to honor our own process, because I do get comments from people like, I don't have any physical symptoms from this stuff. Be grateful, be happy, and go about your day, because that's a great thing. But there are those of us who do experience the physical symptoms. I got hit pretty hard last night, and luckily this morning I woke up and I'm completely fine. But the symptoms that seem to be coming in are like the bloating. I was joking with a friend, so I was like, I feel like I'm 9 months pregnant and I'm like uncomfortable in my own skin. There's the skin itches, and these can be all over and they can drive you mad. There's not a whole lot you can do about it. You can put, coconut oil or something like that on it, but it's more of an internal thing as the body goes crystalline. There's aches and pains. So any area that you have that is your sore spot, and we all have them. For me, it's my lower back. My knees seem to get hit sometimes too. These will act up. Stretching and movement help. So if you think about it, as the energy comes in, it's supposed to flow through your body. But let's say you've got an area that's your sore spot. So maybe it's your elbows, maybe it's your shoulders. We all have our stuff. So if you think about energy coming in, it kind of gets balled up in an area that maybe already has some issues. So then the pain intensifies. Movement, moving the shoulders, stretching, moving the knees, these things help. It's almost like a way to unstick an energy block. Exhaustion. Oh, man. I mean, it's amazing. I was sitting there on the couch last night and we're waiting. We were getting ready to go out to dinner. And all of a sudden I was nailed, and I was like, I just need to close my eyes for a couple minutes. And I closed my eyes and I went into this weird, not quite asleep, but not quite awake state. And I felt like I had a huge crystal sitting on my third eye, just boring in, as if it was like this huge rock right here. And I came to, eventually. It was like, literally like 5 minutes. And I was like, okay, all right, I feel better. I can go out to dinner now. But it's kind of one of those times where you're like, you can just see yourself putting your head on a wall and sleeping for 2 or 3 minutes just to allow the body to slightly shut down for an upgrade to take place so that you can go on about your life. And depending on where you are in this process, your shutdown can be hours. I remember, 2006, 2007, 2008, I took more naps than any human being probably should ever take. And I needed it. I had to. So when you look at that, you kind of go, okay, well, I have to honor what my body needs. Because what happens is, if you're not honoring, you will get knocked down. It's sometimes what we need is an excuse. And don't get me wrong, I know that people are sick, but sometimes being sick gives you the excuse to rest without the judgment of others. Sometimes an accident gives you the excuse to rest without the judgment of others. So, you'll see people like, I hurt my knee again, or I did this again, or I did that again. And sometimes it's just the subconscious creating something so that you can rest without guilt. So for those who are able to rest and fully honor the body without feeling bad, good, keep that up, because your process is going to be so much easier. So another part of these symptoms that we're feeling is all of a sudden you just kind of feel like you're older. You look in the mirror and you're like, oh, crap, there's more wrinkles, there's more lines. I look worn out. I look exhausted. And usually this will last a day and 2 as your body adjusts to this new energy, and then you'll pop right back to normal. But it's really annoying as it's happening, because you're kind of going, what could this be? So some of the things that I find that help me are bioplasma cell salts. It's like a combination of all 12 cell salts. A client of mine turned me on to these, and they've really helped. And what they've also helped with is that salt craving that we can sometimes get, because it's like the body needs salt because it's being depleted, and then we choose chips and things like that to fill that need. but that's not really the right salt. It's not truly what you need. So these cell salts do help. Another thing that really helps me is magnesium. And I use Calm. It's the type that you take a spoonful and you mix in water and you drink, because my body processes it that much better than a pill. For some reason, I really wasn't digesting the pills very well. Okay, so now interestingly enough, when you look at the world, you can see we have a lot of divine feminine stuff coming up. And with that comes a lot of healing. So I'm seeing a lot of clients of mine have ovary issues right now. And don't think that this is only women, because this can be men as well. We've had many, many lives on this planet as men, women, it doesn't matter. We've been it all. So I have a male friend of mine who went through a deep healing and actually could feel ovaries from a past life that were still kind of panging and hurting. So what we're doing now is we're clearing out within our lifetimes, and we can say we're clearing for the connected, but we're really doing this all for ourselves, the sexual issues that have dominated this planet, the domination of women, the misuse of sex, and some of the perversions that have been created because there isn't a honoring of the divine feminine. Excuse me. So if you're having any of this stuff come up, realize that that's what's going on. It's the divine feminine rising. And once it's healed, and once, a woman steps into her full power, look out. And with that come the men. And once the men are balanced between their divine masculine and their divine feminine, look out for them too, because these are walking beautiful energy people who are no longer caught in the distortion. So all that's taking place right now. So now, last time we were talking about Atlantis and how the memories were surfacing for some people of anxiety and fear of what's coming, because the last go around in the Atlantean time frame, when these type of energies came in, it didn't bode too well for us. So there's those fears and anxieties. But what's also coming up, and so watch the information you're getting, watch your dreams. We're being tapped into some of the really great parts of Atlantis, different healing modalities, different ways of being, different ways of viewing things. So for instance, you could have information on a crystal that's in all the books and it used to fit, and now you're finding like, it's not really fitting anymore. And you may be given more information on what it actually can be used for now. And it's not that the old information is wrong. It's not. We're just adding on to it. So watch this information. Watch what's coming in your dreams. I received a really incredible healing modality in a dream, and I knew full well that it was from Atlantis. And I was like, okay, great. So now we have to figure out how to incorporate this healing modality in this now. So this isn't all bad. It isn't all bad. So allow yourself to experience the good that came out of Atlantis as well. Now with this, some people are experiencing other times that this has been attempted before, those memories. And we're talking Egyptian memories. Those are surfacing for a lot of people. We're talking Lemurian and Mayan. And so there was so many times this has been attempted, and this is the only time that we've attempted to do it in body. So this time around, it really is different. And we're also attempting it to do it without wiping out the earth. So we're in for some challenges, not only physically, how do we continue to handle the energy within our body, but also how does the earth handle the energy as the waves come in as well. Because we're very tied to her. And as she grows, we grow. And as we grow, she grows. So it's not either or. We're tied together in this. Okay, so another thing I want to talk to you guys about is timelines. You may have seen so much information on timelines and not truly understood it. The whole entire thing is your soul is here to experience it all. And that's why you hear all the time there's no mistakes, because you get to experience every option. So on a very small level, you could be in 3rd grade and you were told not to eat something. like an ice cream bar or something. You decided not to listen. And normally you listen. Normally your path takes you this way and you're listening to mom and dad. But for some reason you said, I'm not going to listen. I want that ice cream bar. So then there's this diversion for you to experience what is that like. But that's so small. So at the end of the night, that timeline may merge in. You learned this is what's going to happen if I get caught. And you already knew what happened if you listened. So it's all about experience. But we can have timelines that, who did you marry? Where did you go to school? Where do you live now? What type of job? Who are your children? So it's very, very interesting on timelines because they allow us to experience every option. So I was dreaming about a timeline, and I can always tell when they're timeline dreams. They're just different. And I don't get to see all the different timelines as I merge with them because I don't need to. But with this particular timeline, I was actually in the Air Force and I was flying jets. And I remember a time in high school thinking, I would love to do that. That was enough to create a diversion off a timeline. Another possibility that my soul got to experience. So what's happening when we talk about lower timelines crashing, the ones to where the higher vibration doesn't match anymore, they simply fade. They simply go away. We merge, we learn the lessons, and we let it go. Now, understanding that, now apply it to now. What are you doing in your timeline now? What are you creating with your thoughts, your words, your actions in your now today? And when we look at everything that's going on, the insanity in the world, and it is really insane, but understand it has to be. It has to get loud. It has to get obnoxious in order for people to truly see through this illusion that we've created. But I want you to understand that the truth is not fixed. It's not fixed at all. And this is where we have so much division. We have people who are like, nope, that's absolutely correct. I know it is. And you know what? They're right for them. Your reality, your truth could be completely different because truth is created through your beliefs. Whether you receive these beliefs from your own internal knowing or whether or not they were incorporated from outside, from parents or teachers, it doesn't matter where they came from. They are a part of you. And all of these come together in this giant soup mixed ball and help to project out your reality. So in order to change your reality, you have to change your beliefs. You have to see the beliefs. So when we attack a particular person or a group, that's a belief. And it's funny because if you want to see how bad the world is, start searching for it. Because the minute you start looking at articles and other people's Facebook posts to tell you how horrible the world is, the next thing you know, everything is horrible. You get nothing but news of yuck. Nothing but news of people who are harming each other, who are taking advantage of each other, of how we're basically going to hell in a handbasket. Now, on the flip side, if you start to see everyone in their highest light, you hold everyone in their highest possible light, what you see will shift. That's physics. And that's what people have to understand. So if you're up here and you're vibrating high and you're holding your light and you get onto a public bus, people have a choice, and so do you. They can either raise to match your vibration and then you've just kind of calibrated them to a degree, or they're going to avoid you like the plague. They're going to move away from you. But there's also another choice that can happen, and that is you will lower to match their vibration, and that hurts. And that's when you kind of go into that dissonance feeling because your heart chakra is going, no, don't lower, don't lower, don't lower. We feel good high. We feel good at a really loving, open vibration. So it's physics. So what we're asking everyone to do is hold your vibration, hold your light, and shift everything around you. Now, what gets confusing is, we were talking about the women issues earlier with the ovaries and working on the divine feminine. Is there anything wrong with protesting? No, not at all. Because it's you saying, this is my right, and I'm standing up for these views. Nothing wrong with it at all. Now, if you can't protest and keep love in your heart, then I don't recommend doing it. Because we've seen how some protesters will become hateful and they become lowered in their vibration because they're so angry. You have a choice. If you can hold your vibration and your love and shift everything around you while taking part in protests, please do, because you are helping. But if you get stuck, and sometimes we do, because the issues are so sensitive and so scary, that you get pulled under like a riptide, then back out. You get out of the ocean because it's not safe for you. And you have to understand that by the time that you're watching videos like this, by the time that you're deep in this process, you no longer are what we would consider a toddler. And what I mean by that is you don't blame a toddler who isn't awakened for their temper tantrums, for the anger that they spew, because it's kind of like they're quarantined. But by the time that you get into this realm of manifestation, of creating, it's some serious stuff. And the kid gloves are off. So what you are literally bringing forth is what you're also attracting back in. And so you need to be aware of that. So anger, hatred, it's doing nothing for the collective and it's harming you. And just because you stay loving and high vibrating doesn't mean you don't have a voice. Actually, when you have this space of open-heartedness and loving and you come across with your stance or your belief that whatever it is that you feel is being impinged upon, you're going to find people listen because you're not spewing your own internal stuff. I even saw a post where, someone who I would consider to be on the path, a healer, posted how, jokingly, maybe not, that she wanted to get a voodoo doll of Trump. And my eyes kind of bugged out of my head because understand that the energy you're creating, when you constantly look at every news feed and all you can see is negative, you got to think, okay, what's going on here? Because for every negative, there's a positive. Remember timelines. The question is, which one do you want to be on? I saw a client the other day who was really distraught because her little grandson was being fully vaccinated on time schedule, and she was worried. She didn't want him to be vaccine damaged, and she just felt her voice wasn't being heard, so she was really upset. And what was interesting is in talking to her guides, they explained to me if she needs to be on the timeline to where the child is vaccine damaged, the child was willing to have a timeline within that matched that. But that wasn't the child's path. So it would have been an additional timeline to match whatever grandma needed to experience. But there were also timelines to where the child was not vaccine damaged, to where the child was completely fine and healthy. So the guide said, it's your choice. Which timeline do you want to be on? Which child do you want in your life? It's a choice. Now, are there kids who come in and their purpose is to be vaccine damaged to show that in every timeline? Absolutely. So this isn't cut and dry, but you have to ask yourself, what timeline am I in? What am I projecting? What am I creating? And what truth am I seeing? And is it really the truth? I've seen so much distortion in all media sites. I'm sorry, whether it's the CNN group or whether it's the alternative media, there's a lot of spin going on. And I cannot tell you what the truth is. I really can't. And if I can't tell you what the truth is, I back out. Because that tells me that there's two agendas going here and I don't need to be a part of either one. So pick your battles. If you have things that are near and dear to your heart, it's okay to push your views. It's okay to call the White House. It's okay to do these things. No one is saying you can't. Just keep loving your heart. And understand that everything out there is a projection of what's going inside us. So to pin so much on one person or one administration or one political group, that's silly. We created them. So the ones to pin on are us. So the choice is work on your stuff, figure out your beliefs, figure out where the distortion is, and move forward. And I'm going to tell you, these energies that are coming in, they're perfect for it because they're bringing up all of our stuff. They're just digging it deep. And as it does, it has a greater chance of leaving. So until next time, hang in there. I know that it's hard. Take care of yourself. Love yourself completely. And if you feel the need to back off of whether it's social media, watching the news, listen to yourself and just do it. Because your role is to keep your heart open, because your open heart is your projector for your timeline. And I'm going to ask you again, which timeline do you want to be in? And it's important. So you'll find that when this heart isn't open, your timeline shifts. You shift right back down. And when it's open and you feel good, everything flows. Play with it. Be very observant, not only of how you're feeling internally, but what's going on around you. Be very observant. Until next time, have a fantastic day. Talk to you later.